And welcome to Justice Serve TV. So, the Kelsey Fitzsimmons case, where is it going to be tried, investigated, pursued, whether we're talking about visitation, ownership of the home, or the merits of the original case? That is a critical analysis we're going to get to. And how much a week should you get for childcare? I don't know. I don't know, does $12 sound like a good amount?
People say
love you, Linda. Love you.
The courthouse the other day in the hallway, you're singing "Oh Happy Day."
One word prayer. Justice, where are you?
And hello, Linda Kenney Baden. How are you?
Hi, Michael Bryant, and we'll discuss it later. But maybe if you're so greedy that you want to have $200,000 held in escrow, maybe courts take notice of that, and maybe therefore stipulations become a little bit reasonable so that you don't look like an asshole. But that's just me.
I think compared to what we saw from court last week to what we see in these papers, it's like a different case.
And we're talking about Kelsey Fitzsimmons.
We are talking about Kelsey Fitzsimmons. Man, it's I have to double check that. Was that the case I was in court recording? Because it looks very different. But before we get to that, okay, everybody remembers the Maya Kowalsski case, right? Why don't you refresh us, and we'll talk about where that's gone, what the twist and turn has been.
Well, remember that, as a matter of fact, we covered this case when we were over at Law and Crime. Maya Kowalsski, her mother killed herself over the theory that her mother was not going to see her daughter again because the hospital reported her mother for abuse. Maya Kowalsski wanted ketamine dosages. There were all sorts of issues with her there. There were claims by the father. There were claims by the brother. There were claims by Maya. There were claims by the estate of the family. And anyhow, it resulted in a judgment that was over $200 million. $200 million for the Kowalski family, all told.
Yeah, this was a civil case, of course, so all about money. And I think even the trial court reduced it from 260 something to 210, 211. That's what went up on appeal, right?
Right. So that's why I say a little over 200 million. Well, and there was a Netflix special on it too. The appellate court just reversed that decision. But it didn't reverse it and send it back up for 260 million. It said, everything is undone. Okay. There is no money judgment for anyone at this point, but and there can be no money judgment for anyone under the intentional infliction of emotional distress action. It's kind of funny because we talked about it in the Reed matter, the IIED claims. Okay, but Maya Kowalski herself, the young woman, she does have a claim. She does have a claim that the healthcare providers who were in charge of caring her were guilty of outrageous conduct, that she was vulnerable. She had a special relationship with them. She was young. And therefore, under the standard of care that a certain nurse had to give her, it would cause the members of the community to exclaim that this was some outrageous action that was equal to intentional infliction of emotional distress. So you could go back and retry your case to a new jury, Maya, under that. But everybody else is barred under certain theories, whether it be immunity or other theories.
Yeah, very interesting. I don't mind the limitation on an IIED claim. I think it needs to have some guardrails, and I'm okay with that. Boy, to go through this trial a second time, and again, it's down in Florida, Sarasota, Clearwater, St. Pete, is the Gulf Coast. It'll be something that we will cover very closely to see how it unfolds with these guide rails.
I make a prediction.
Got to go through it again.
Yeah,
What's
I
that?
make a prediction. I make a prediction at this time it settles. Okay, at this time
Yeah.
it settles to get money for the young woman, and the hospital now has exhausted their abilities, and the jury could, and as the court said, the jury could still find what happened to her as so outrageous. You may end up with a claim or a cause of action or a judgment that's 200 million just for her in this day and
Oh,
age when
sure.
you're dealing with different money. So
And she's a
I think,
very
oh,
sympathetic victim.
absolutely.
And again, we're talking about an action against the hospitals who, the hospital, they're going in with one arm tied behind their back because people, are annoyed at hospitals, the cost, the inefficiency, the danger. And so
Right.
this is basically a wrongful death case wrapped up in hospital negligence or intentional actions.
Right.
So fascinating case. That decision, I'm going to wade into it. It's a deep. It's like a lot of
47
pages.
pages, right?
That's a lot of
47
pages. I
right?
try to cut it off at 40, but yeah, 47
sure.
pages. I might dig into that just to suss out their reasoning because it was
As a
an
matter of fact, I
interesting
think I can post. I can post the decision location right to our chat if anyone wishes to read it. Please do because it is an interesting decision. And we want to say welcome to Floyd, who's a new member. I think Floyd actually is a new member at Supreme Court level from what I saw before.
Oh.
And Hope 8 Fear, a new member. Welcome, 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 everyone. Here. And I hope you all recovered from last night's show where we had Alan Jackson, Action Jackson, AJ on, talking about Karen Reed, talking about Phil Spector, talking about his new case in California, the car crash case. And it was an hour jam-packed. It's in our library. You can go see it. And you'll see that we had a few smiles and a lot of fun and a lot of jabs and but some very serious discussion also. So please go view that. I think 20,000 of you have already viewed it. And when you do that, please hit subscribe to our channel, like, share, and notify. And if you want to become a member, I'm going to be arranging a members only meeting for Who Killed Stephanie Vilko. And I will say that right now that I phrased it before is how did she die? It was suspicious death. But after our members have discovered some new evidence here for us to sleuth, I can easily say that you're not found under a bramble bush, a blackberry bramble bush, 150 feet off the road, 5 miles from where you left off, skeletonized 8 months later, unless you had been murdered.
Yep, and does something nefarious has happened there. Okay, so we are lucky to be joined for our second little rip and read here by Mizzy. We know every time we see Mizzy, we immediately say, Sandra Birchmore, what's happening, what's going on? We know that there's been new charges filed. Mizzy, give us the update on where we are in this case.
Yeah, so October 5th, he will be going to trial, hopefully. And
he who, tell everybody.
Matthew Farwell, former disgraced, detective of Stoughton Police Department. He also was charged yesterday in a superseding indictment for the baby also. A baby boy. We just found that out also.
Mm.
And I've been asking you, Miss Mizzy, I asked you in the past, what's happened about, was there anyone going to be charged for the baby boy? And you didn't know, but now you know.
Yep.
And the baby was how many weeks along?
12, about 10.
10. Okay. And so, and we were talking a little bit, you have your theories perhaps on the importance of this charge as it relates to any federal claim for the death penalty. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, when we went to the hearing, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, they were talking about if they're going to go for the death penalty, and it's Main Justice who has to decide if they're going to go the death penalty. And I think they are going to decide that. They're trying to, put it to Pam Bondi because she is a Republican. I believe she doesn't believe in abortion. She believes life is conceived at birth, at conception, So I think that's why they're trying to force her to do the death penalty because she's a Republican.
Yeah, now, Mizzy, I had the same feeling. My feeling was that indeed that this was a power move, that they've given him a year to cooperate. That he had probably, we don't know about it, but he had probably what his queen for a day or king for a day agreement to try to cooperate. It didn't work out. They came back. He had to get a death penalty lawyer. They haven't put the death penalty formally on the table yet. They have until January to decide that. But this is like, okay, you don't want to play ball with us and give people up. Okay, so now you're going to get charged with the baby. And I think the death penalty is going to be on the table. And I think this is a power move from the government. That's my view of what just happened.
Yep. I fully agree. I think it's two ways. I think, they wanted to kind of force Maine Justice to put that out there on the table, but also, hey, we are going for the death penalty, so play ball with us.
Yeah. So as we look down the road, assuming that does happen, again, by January, we'll know, then you're into the next level of the chess game. Is there going to be a deal to take that death penalty off the table? Are we going to see an actual trial? I mean, all of those machinations will start to, take place. Are there others that he might roll over on? All of those things we thought might be happening as they continue to push the prior hearings down the road, they're still in play. And if they go with the death penalty, it just kind of heightens that whole that game. And I use the word game seriously. It's not a game, but there's a lot of strategy involved.
Yeah. And I'm going to post, by the way, the Justice Department did issue a press release on this. I'm going to post it again into our chat so you can go read the press release with regard to it. Now, we know apparently through DNA testing, first round DNA testing, that Matthew Farmwell was not the father of the baby. Did this indictment answer the question of who is? Because I can't imagine they don't know already. They have DNA. They probably have done familiar, if no one's rolling over, they've done, genealogical DNA. I can't imagine they don't know. Any word on that?
They must know the likely suspects. There's a handful of them, right?
Yeah, they're not talking, and we aren't getting it from our sources, but we're hoping that, if that's going to come out, that we'll get it from our sources so we can get it out as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's a few suspects that we know
handful,
of,
right?
that we know of. But there are some suspects that we know of, and there's a lot of rumors out there, and I'm not diving into those rumors till I have proof. At the Justice for Sandra Birchmore group, we tried to stay with the facts of the case and not get into too many of the rumors.
And I think, though, that the fact that, he had a motive, if that was his child, he still had a motive. But I think that he killed that baby and it turns out not to be his. To me, if I'm sitting on that jury, it makes it worse. But there's also an article that in Boston Globe we should talk about before we let you go. As a result of this case, there is a legislature, Ms. Roush, and I'll put part of it that's in the Globe just in our chat so we can just discuss it quickly. Actually, it won't let me put it in the chat. So she has decided to do something, or asked the legislature of Massachusetts to do something, correct?
Yeah, Barb just posted it on our page. I didn't get to read it fully, but about, what is it, staged
suicides.
Staged suicides.
It's amazing. The numbers, I just read some of the numbers. It's unbelievable how many per year they estimate. What was the range again? It was 850 to 1,000. 800 to 1,200
annually.
Staged,
right.
Staged suicide.
Wow.
Yeah.
It'll be great to get that on the books.
And apparently they want to train law enforcement officers to identify staged suicides, recognize indicators that researchers may point to a homicide when there's a domestic violence survivor. Those signs include premature, untimely deaths, appearance at deaths where suicides are accidental, or deaths occurred after a romantic partner attempted to end the relationship. It will also mandate that investigators interview relatives, household members, and friends of the deceased domestic survivors. So that's a lot of things to do, and perhaps maybe training forensic pathologists to do that, because my husband, I always say that Dr. Michael Baden was the one who identified this as a homicide. He didn't say he does it, medical examiners don't, but the Boston medical examiner who we've invited on this show still says this is a suicide, even with this new indictment. And Mr. Morrissey, the prosecutor from the Karen Reed trial still says
Yep.
this is a suicide, even with this new indictment about the baby boy. So,
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Hopefully that they include that in the law, because clearly something's being missed on that end too. It can't be just law enforcement, because sometimes, I'm not talking about Sandra's case, but sometimes they look to the medical examiner to tell them whether it was, a homicide or it was self-inflicted. So.
well, Mizzy, we know that you will keep updating us on this case, and we look towards it. You want to give us your website and the page on Facebook devoted to Sandra Birchmore, and obviously her cousin Barb, who's been on our show, is also one of the administrators on that page.
It's justiceforsandra.birchmore.com, or it's the same name, Justice for Sandra Birchmore, on Facebook. And I'm also on X under Sandra Birchmore.
And you're also under X under your own name too, right?
Yes.
And before you disappear, what's do you have a standout coming up? And what's the next court appearance, if any? We know the deadline for the decision on the death penalty. What else is on the calendar?
His next court date is December 16th. And then January 20th is the day we go into court for the death penalty, whether they're going to decide that, and a few other things are on the table for that. We do have a standout coming in November. It'll be the 22nd, I believe. I think it's the day after Karen Reed's civil hearing, because I'm going down to that. So I will be posting it soon, so people come check it out on all of our pages, so you can get all the info.
Okay. Yeah, 22nd. That is the Saturday afterwards. So.
Okay. Yeah. Then it's the November 22nd.
All right then. Well,
Thank
always
you.
a pleasure. And
Thank
I'll see.
you.
I'll probably see you down there in a month, or up there. Yeah, I'll see you up there. Thanks, Mizzy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mizzy. Hello to Barb.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, that case is. It seems like it's so far away, but the next 12 months are going to be very interesting.
Right, and remember, Christmas, holidays, Passover is only less than 2 months away here. So when we say December 16th, that's not that far. That's you're not even talking 2 months.
What is today? Today is the
29th.
Yeah, so
October.
3.5 weeks to the Karen Reed civil hearing, and the next day for the standout. So keep that in mind. Put that on your calendars, folks. Okay, we're going to talk Kelsey Fitzsimmons now, because we talk about cases. We usually get deep into the merits of the case. We're nowhere near the merits of this case. We're talking about procedure. We're talking about personalities. We're talking about demands made by, in this case, the former fiance, Justin Alien. So we have two different documents. We're going to start with the one that was just popped in today. They both blow my mind in terms of the interrelationship of the parties and how the court is going to be involved. Just by way of foundational information, last Thursday, we're up there in Salem. Boo! And it was very exciting. And we're in court, we're recording. And the first thing we hear is that there is some claim by Justin Alien that they should move the venue from Essex County, which is where North Andover is, and a number of towns that are related to this case are situated, to Middlesex, which is where he's now living at Stowe. That's Stowe without the E. Massachusetts, STOW, Vermont, STOWE. And it's about 20 minutes south of North Andover, but it's in another county. It's in Middlesex County. So he's suggesting, well, now that's the proper venue. Kind of came out of left field. Nobody made a decision on it. The court asked for a briefing. We're going to get to that joint statement about the briefing. But more importantly, the stipulation they referenced in that hearing, and I went to the clerk's office afterwards and said, hey, can I get a copy of that? She gave me all kinds of grief. And, short of jumping over the counter and getting arrested, I didn't get it. But now we got it. And I think it's worth going over because I'm just looking at it thinking this seems to be, I wasn't sure I expected this particular document. So let me find it here. Hold on, stand by.
Yeah, I'll let you find it. You know what?
And this was filed about 1:30.
We take it out of Massachusetts. Kelly Fitzsimmons, Sandra Birchmore, Karen Reed. I mean, there are cases all around the country, and we're still there.
And it's not even purposeful. It's not like we're just hanging out. We're not the Massachusetts Bureau. We're looking into the stuff that is getting the most interest and attention, and we're pursuing that. So this was filed yesterday afternoon. Stipulation. Oh, there it is. There it is. It exists for temporary orders on plaintiff's verified motion for temporary orders. It sounds like double speak, but remember, Justin Alien came along and said, I want the child. He's also asked for the equity in the home. That is not part of this deal.
He wanted the equity in the home, $200,000 for child support
For
the
18
child
years.
was for
Yes.
18 years. Okay.
Yeah. And that hasn't been decided yet. But now, once we get to the venue discussion, let me spoiler alert. It's going to stay in Essex County. We'll get into how that all evolved. But this is far more, to be honest, far more interesting. So here we have comes now the parties, and we have Justin Alien and we have Kelsey Fitzsimmons, and they stipulate, meaning they have come to an agreement on each of these things that we're going to talk about. Custody and parenting time. The father shall have legal and physical custody of the party's minor child, 8 months old now. The parties acknowledge that on or about June 30, father sought and obtained his 209A abuse prevention order against the mother in the Essex Probate and Family Court. That was the original document. Pursuant to the active 209A order, the father was granted custody of the minor child, and the mother was ordered not to contact the father or the minor child. The matter is scheduled for a two-party evidentiary hearing December 2nd. Mark that on your calendar. That's going to be fascinating. It's an evidentiary hearing, so who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? And remember, in that probate and family court we were in, not a traditional courtroom per se. There's not really a witness stand. The parties generally stand at counsel table and raise their right hands, as they did that day, and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So we'll be there. I think it's safe to say. The parties further acknowledge that the mother is currently being held without bail in the Western Massachusetts Regional Women's Correctional Center, pending a criminal trial on a charge for assault with a dangerous weapon in the Essex Superior Court. In that matter, mother was ordered to remain away from the minor child. This is all part of that original order that Justin got, Mr. Alien got. And then this kind of stings. Yeah, they have this at the bottom, just kind of a standalone reference. As such, mother shall have no parenting time. That's pretty bold slap in the face, and it's unfortunate because it's not like it doesn't happen. It's not like you can't make those arrangements with somebody that's incarcerated.
Right.
You can, but they're not. Okay, and this is by agreement. Okay, child support. Here we go. Commencing October 23rd, that was the day of the hearing. Mother shall pay child support to the father in the amount of $12 per week, pursuant to the payment method described in paragraph 3 below. The parties acknowledge the child support payment of $12 per week is the minimum child support order pursuant to the guidelines. And those guidelines, every place has them, right? It'll take into account assets, income, obligations, bing, 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 who has money. What does that tell you? That she's having to pay anything. What's your take on that?
The court's going to order it no matter what. She probably has $12 a week coming to her for her work in jail. That's probably what it comes down to.
I mean, the
it's
guidelines.
Ridiculous things.
Yeah, I can't even imagine guidelines using that as it's a nothing number. It's nothing. It's $48 a month.
$48 a month. So you're talking about what? How much per year? $800, $824, $24. You're talking about under $10,000. Yeah, you're talking about under $10,000 through 18 years. Is that what we're talking about?
Oh, that's an interesting calculation that may come into the mix.
Yeah, considering he's asking for $200,000, probably from the house. He wanted $200,000 from the house.
That's
an hour.
Yeah, that's roughly the equity, and he just said, "I want it all." The parties agree. This is under the payment method. The parties agree and acknowledge that the mother holds title to the real property located at the Phillips Brooks Road location. The parties also agree and acknowledge that on August 22, 2025, the mother listed the North Andover property for sale, and that the mother has accepted a contingent offer to purchase the North Andover property. I don't know how I feel if I'm the buyer in this whole mess, because I'm sure when they got involved, it was like, I'm just buying this house. It's a modest, lovely little home, but all of a sudden you're knee deep in this mess. From the mother's
maybe the buyer wants to hold tours of it.
Jeez.
I'm just
hope
kidding. I
hope
hope not.
not.
I hope
hope
not. And I say that facetiously,
Yeah, I
but
know.
we've seen places where it's happened.
Yeah, and maybe they'll put the door back on that room upstairs where they say she came out from behind the door. You remember
Right,
that?
right.
You-
And there's no
There's
door.
no freaking door. How'd she come from behind the door? It's magic. Anyway, from the
Maybe they
mother's
took
net.
the door. Maybe they took the door as evidence. Okay.
Well, having put a few doors in and taken them out, you have to have the right door jamb and the right. There's no door. There's no unless they came in afterwards as carpenters and patched it up. There hasn't been a door there for a while, and you can tell it's stylishly designed to be that way. Anyway, what was I looking? Oh, from the mother's net proceeds from the sale of the North Andover property, $50,000 shall be held by the father's counsel in the IOLTA account.
account. So that's a lot. That's a far cry from the $200,000
yeah.
of equity that you have. So there's an agreement. So what an IOLTA account is that almost every state has them. Lawyers have to have them because when you're putting other people's money in that, it's kind of like it's an insured account, really, of some sort. I'm not using lawyers' terms here. But it's a secure account, and if you are a lawyer and you tend to spend that money for something that you're not supposed to spend it for, you in big trouble.
Yeah,
all right, and it gets interest. IOLTA accounts get interest.
That's true, and the TA stands for trust account. So that's
Right.
the concept there. And as we know as attorneys, you have a trust account. If you touch that, red alert, red alert. I think I've mentioned before I had that problem where the bank screwed up and said that I had moved funds that I hadn't moved, and the bar is on you like, bam, white on rice. And you have to then go through, all of a sudden you're guilty until proven innocent, and you have to go through the documentation and the bank says, yeah, sorry, oopsie, yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
No longer working with that bank, the initials of which are Wells Fargo. Okay, so following the closing on the property, that 50 grand goes in there from the net proceeds from the sale. Father's counsel shall disperse. So again, Justin Alien does not have access directly to the money. It's in this trust account from which father's counsel shall disperse $12 per week to the father from the escrow account. Escrow? Did anybody mention escrow?
You did.
Courthouse steps?
You did. You said right at the beginning, this is going to go into an escrow account.
And they wouldn't even acknowledge that. Come on.
They wouldn't acknowledge that. We know it had to go into an escrow account. And quite frankly, this is actually a smart move. I know you're going to hate me for this on behalf of the father, because I think it puts him looking like he's in a better position than when he's grabbing the whole equity, which is what he had asked for. Okay. So now there's been a negotiation. Probably the lawyer said, you can't get that. And you know what kind of a dumb...
well, he did file it pro se. We know that. So,
but that means that's what he wanted. Yeah, but that means what he.
Sure.
That's what he wanted. Okay.
And now we know they've negotiated this number, and he comes out looking less like, sniveling, money grubber, slightly less. So he gets his 12 per week, and the father's counsel shall provide an accounting of the escrowed funds. This is going to be the simplest accounting ever. So moving on, health insurance for the minor child. Now, he's a firefighter. He's probably got a great insurance, right? Mm-hmm. The father shall maintain his employer-sponsored medical insurance for the minor child if, as and when the minor child ceases to be covered under her health insurance. So she's still under the cops. She's at administrative leave now. Remember, she was on it, off it, on it again. So she's got great coverage too. I guess if you looked at the numbers, maybe it was more economical to have the child on hers because she's the natural mother.
Also, yeah, well, maybe that was the case initially. Yeah, and the child was, that's possible. And they were not married yet. Yeah. So that would be probably more likely that would have happened.
Yeah. So they both have government jobs with great health care, and so the baby is covered on that. Uninsured medical, dental, and vision expenses, because even good insurance ain't the best. You're paying something. The parties shall share equally in any and all uninsured medical, dental, therapeutic, and/or orthodontic expenses for the minor child, with father covering the first $250 per year. What will that get you? What does that get you? Doesn't get you much. On a monthly basis, the father shall submit to father's counsel in writing proof of payment for any and all uninsured expenses, including but not limited to blah, blah, blah. And then so the attorneys are going to share this information to make sure that he's doing the right thing, that Justin Alien is paying his chunk. He's on the hook for the first $250. Yeah, again, those numbers are just a joke. Right? Nothing. That's for the year, 250. Yeah, right. Child care, daycare. The party shall share equally in all child care or daycare expenses on a monthly basis. Father shall submit to his attorney proof of payment of any expenses. Yeah, we know that his parents are watching the child at this point. Counsel shall
That always leads to an interesting issue, because I've seen cases where then the in-law, relative, family member, parent bills for the child care, right? So I mean, I don't know if they discussed that's not going to happen, or whether that's going to be something that we'll see later down the road. This is like a divorce agreement here.
It is. That's why I'm getting queasy.
Right. I know.
Because that's why I'm not doing family law. Yeah, and this is the worst part, when you're wrestling over a child. It's the worst, and in this case, it's extreme when somebody gets shot while wrestling over a child. This is interesting. Communications between the parties, as noted above, pursuant to 209A, the order that Justin received. The mother is prohibited from contacting the father and the minor child. That said, the parties agree that father will share updates, no thanks, about the minor child, such as his diet, general well-being, development, medical dental appointments, new activities, discoveries, evolving likes and dislikes, milestones. This is just so sad. First steps, first words, as well as photographs and or videos of the minor child to the father's counsel on the 15th and 30th of every month. Father's counsel shall share the same with mother's counsel within 24 hours of receipt of same. Now, let's talk about this timing. If you read this, and a lot of this is boilerplate, and they fill in the details, but this sounds like, man, he's got this baby forever. That's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like. Sounds like because remember, he's got total physical control. I mean, it's not joint control, and it's not even joint. It's not even, how some agreements he'll have the physical custody, but there'll be shared control of everything else. That's not that here.
No. And, let's assume, and we are still waiting for the Supreme Judicial Court entire panel to rule on the latest emergency efforts to get Kelsey Fitzsimmons out of jail. Let's assume that fails. Okay. She's done a month already, a little more than a month. I think it's 5 weeks. At the time we were at the hearing last week, it was 5 weeks. So that means you got another 4.5 months, give or take, under the provisions that the court imposed. And the theory is that it'll go to trial before that. That's the theory. If that's true, and if she's acquitted, or if she's convicted and then sentenced to probation, or she could be out by the springtime. And so all of these things, it's called a temporary order. All of these things would then have to be renegotiated, and major changes would be made, you would think.
Oh boy, yeah, but the things that you missed the first year of being the mother to a child, wow,
heartbreaking every day.
Heartbreaking, right.
I can't
every
even
day is
imagine.
heartbreaking, right?
Yeah, minor child's. I love this too. This is this was not just a random thought. This is, if they didn't think about we're going to baptize the child, this would never have come up.
Right.
If and or when the minor child is baptized, the father shall ensure that the ceremony is video recorded. The father shall send father's counsel the video of the baptism that same day, and the father's counsel shall forward the same to mother's counsel. The parties agree that the mother's sister, Madison, may attend. Well, that's big of them. May attend the baptism.
And then there's nothing, I've seen online, because there was some suggestion about this, about who would be the god parent to this child, right? In a baptism. There's nothing here about that, okay?
And if Madison is the only person that can go from Kelsey's side of the family, does she have any role in it other than just she gets to be there?
Yeah, can you imagine just being there? Can you imagine that?
Yeah, I mean, that's not a video that I'm dying to see.
I mean, but just her, how she feels about being there, it's like it's walking into the enemy camp.
Well, it'll be documented for better or worse. The parties shall submit the stipulation to the court for approval and adoption into a temporary order, et cetera, et cetera. Both parties reserve the respective rights, interests, claims, and defenses in the matter. All provisions of the stipulation are entered into by the parties without prejudice and may be reviewed by the court upon appropriate motion by either party. So in most cases in family court, change circumstances is the magic phrase, and it happens all the time. So getting out of jail, probably a changed circumstance.
Yeah.
So that's there it is. Just an alien. I'm still going with alien. 'Cause
I
I'm not
know you
quite
are.
sure.
And then the other thing, even with the baptism, when I'm thinking about, it doesn't say that Madison can hold the baby, can kiss the baby, can
Just
touch
be
the baby. It
there.
doesn't say anything. Just be there. And then
Yeah.
I could see, given the fact that this is like a bad divorce already, even though they weren't married. I mean, you can see that things could easily arise, given what happened with the ex parte order and all the, hey, can you meet me at the park? And I go to the park and I wait, you don't come.
Yeah, you wait
And
for
then I
3
go home.
hours, and during that time, he's getting his court order to take the baby from you.
Right.
It just, when people saw him, because nobody had really seen him before, he appeared, the things that were said, the opinions that were registered, slime ball might be one of the nicest things that was said about the guy. Too bad. I don't feel sorry for him, but
I feel sorry for the baby, and I feel
course.
sorry
and
for
the mom.
And I feel sorry for the
Mom.
mom. No, look, we're not talking about the merits of the case. We're talking about the fact that they went in to try to get something proactively changed so that there wouldn't be a violation of the basically a breathalyzer test, right?
Right.
The SRAM monitoring. And instead, she ends up in jail because with the worst possible circumstances. So now you end up in. It was just. It's. There's an author called Kafka with the trial. And people say Kafkaesque.
Yes.
Well, you have to Google it. I mean, I know it's not a modern thing, but it's like something out of a movie. It's like Twilight Zone.
Surreal. Yeah. No doubt about it. And so let's look back now at the document that was available actually the day before, but we had that little Alan Jackson thing going on. So
we kind of.
So we
thought
didn't
that
look
was a
at
little
this at the
important,
time.
And while you're
so-
doing that, somebody wants to know, wants to know what's in the book club. I thought to say that. Well, it's in our members. It's not
Yeah, and it
the
hasn't.
book
Where to
club.
put
You
my
want to know
book? Oh,
that
there it
you want the title of the book club.
There it
book.
is.
Okay, here you go. You might go to prison even though you're innocent. Justin Brooks. So Justin Brooks is going to read a passage.
He is going to read
to our members,
Yes,
right?
He's going to read a passage. I am focusing him. I already told him this on this. This chapter is called. I think it's called "Somebody Lies." This book is really, a collection of the stories, both good and bad, about those that have been wrongfully accused, wrongfully convicted, and ultimately released. And a lot of it has to do with, here's how it could happen to you, whether you think it might happen or not. Here's how it could happen. And this is a chapter called "Somebody Lies About You."
Right.
I focused on this and the subheading, which is police officers. Know of any cases where police officers have lied and that might be done to help their cases? I don't know.
Well, on Thursday of this week, we'll give you a little preview. Marty Tanklift, who was both an exoneree and then he was wrongfully convicted, exoneree, went to law school, became a lawyer, just admitted to the U.S. Supreme Court, and is also a professor at Georgetown of the Exoneration Project there, where he and the students have exonerated people wrongfully convicted, and they're going through a bunch of cases where there is police, shall we say, I'll just say for the moment, faulty testimony. And we actually talk on Thursday, and we will be talking and giving you letters that we've written or memos that we've written. I guess emails would be the correct way to say it. With regard to this case, Teresa Fusco, 41 years in New York City, not solved until recently, 3 innocent people, 2 younger, 1 a little bit older, but who had kids, wrongfully convicted, spent near 18 years in jail. And guess what Marty says? There's no accountability. So we have actually written an email, which we will share, to the prosecutor involved in that case, and also to the law school where he presently teaches, to ask why he's not teaching a case on wrongful conviction. So we'll go into that with Marty Tankliff. It's an amazing interview. He's an amazing guest. It's an amazing story from him, and also an amazing story you'll see that, yes, it can happen to you. You can get wrongfully convicted, even though you may be innocent.
Yep. So we will do that. I know it's going to be one day next week. I haven't figured out exactly when, but Justin will be coming on to read some of his prose and give us some tips on, there's got to be a way to avoid this. And obviously,
Yeah.
there's only so much you can do. Sometimes just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it doesn't go well. Anyway,
Right in our chat, one of our chatters. I'm not 23, Sherilyn. Okay,
Wow.
right in our chat. I mean, I'm sure there's more. People don't want to say it, but it's not a joke. It is not a joke, and it happens. And those of you who don't think it doesn't happen, maybe we'll open your eyes with Justin Brooks's book.
Yep. And Marty, tomorrow will be a great entry into that whole crazy world. So here is the parties' joint memorandum, Ray venue. Now, I will say again, let me blow that up a touch. From last week's extravaganza, you never would have assumed that they would come to terms on venue. You would assume there's apparently a knockdown drag out going on here where Justin Alien has come up with all the things he did to move venue to Middlesex County, Stowe, and everybody else was fighting against that. Well, let's go through this because I think maybe they went out and had a drink somewhere and decided something different. So, basic facts, most importantly, prior to the child's birth, the parties resided together at the mother's residence, Phillips Brooks Road, the now famous residence, in Essex County. The parties and the minor child resided together at this address after the child was born. So they're going through these basic fundamental facts about where they were. We're talking about contacts. If you look at, it's fundamental law school stuff, contacts. That's what this is all about. Venue, jurisdiction. It deals with contacts. And it sounds just as obvious as it is. Where do you work? Where do you go to school? Where do you go to the doctor? Where do you pay your bills? Where, all of those contacts determine where you should be. It makes perfect sense, right? So let's go to last week, number 9 here. On October 23rd, the father testified in court that months later, he changed his voter registration, his car registration, and ensured and certain bills would no longer be mailed to Phillips Brooks Road. Although the father did not testify or explain where his permanent legal address would be, or has been given to the state of the legal actions between the parties, father did represent that he intended to return to North Andover, Essex County, because of his employment, which was the first question I got as the judge was starting her Q&A. I was like, well, you give up the job? No, you didn't. And the child's pediatrician is there.
I kind of, can you stop at that paragraph? Go back.
Yeah.
Go back. I kind of missed that. I thought when she was asking, I changed it right away. Not that it was months, and that I didn't hear about intended. I heard that he'd gotten a special dispensation to be 2 miles out of the 20 miles. Somehow I missed the import or this paragraph 9 when I was listening to us, recording it, you in particular recording it for the streaming networks.
Yeah. So he tried, and that's what was confusing to me when I saw this. Well, he was trying very hard to make this change. Obviously, somebody got him in a headlock. Hey, dude, this is not going to work very well, and here's why. You can't create this. I called it sandbagging, again, on the court house steps, where Julie Hess and Tim Bradle were, more diplomatic than me, and they wouldn't acknowledge that, but it just seemed, to be stacking the deck, and that's basically what this stipulation or joint statement acknowledges. Those changes don't matter. The law says it's where the child was born. So, and these other little points of contact, no matter what you do soon after the fact. 11, father represents that he had no intention of calling Stowe, Mass. And they put an E in here. It's not. Trust me, it's not. Stowe, Mass. His legal residence as of July 1, 2025, when he filed the complaint. But given he was pro se, this is the court saying we're going to give him a little bit of a pass. He listed the temporary address where he was staying, as he has no permanent legal address at this time. Now, that's his parents. He's with his parents right now. So is all of this been concocted to create this additional venue where he, as a pro se litigant, felt it would help him? And that's me giving him a bit of a pass because he didn't know what the hell he was doing. I don't know if it was nefarious, it was negligent, it was stupid. I don't know what the motivation was. Continuing on here, 12, he states in his memorandum filed for that hearing last week, he has long-standing ties to North Andover. He argues, and mother agrees, that North Andover was the child's only true permanent residence since birth. And that's as controlling as they're going to get, right?
Right.
So, as with any good statement, you got your facts, which we just talked about. You got to go to the law. So, under the law, actions under this chapter to establish parentage, support, custody, visitation of a child shall be filed in the judicial district or county in which the child and one of the parents lives. And if neither of the parents lives in the same judicial district or county as the child, then the complaint shall be filed in the judicial district or county where the child lives.
That's pretty. I mean, it kind of says it right there. It's where the child lives, and the child only lived in North Andover.
Yeah. So,
unless you want to take the child, you move the child to a different county. And the child now lives here.
And then you file. Yeah.
File.
We live in my car, so wherever we're parked. Well, the court actually looks at transitory matters like that. Even for transitory actions, in this 209C action could be construed transitory. I guess that's not a bad argument. Venue is generally proper in the county where one of the parties resides or has their usual place of business. So again, we're back to his connections to the firefighter. The question does not turn on whether either party or child moved after the filing, nor where one's temporary address happened to be at the time of the filing. The question of residency of the child hinges on where the child resided prior to the filing, which by all accounts was in Essex County. Okay, so that's the story.
Clear. That's pretty clear what the law is, and that's why it had to be in Essex. But no one wanted to say that, so I guess there was some negotiations that were going on, and whatever it was, but the negotiations do give custody to the dad right now.
Yeah, and I think imagine being in that room, and you're negotiating, right?
Right.
And you're negotiating on behalf of the father. Well, you got a pretty good leverage. Hey, mom's in jail.
Mom's in jail. Right.
Mom's in jail. So here I am, the only free parent. So that's huge.
Right.
And I'm sure they leaned on that heavily when they were putting this together to get some of the consolations that they did. And I'm also sure that Julie Hess and Tim Bradle said, this is temporary. We know what we're fighting for, which is to get Kelsey Fitzsimmons out of jail.
Right.
That happens. We come in with our new paperwork that says emblazoned on it, changed circumstances. Right.
Right. And not only that, I think there was almost like a tit for tat. Look, the law is really clear that this case belongs in Essex County where the child lives. So you can fight that all you want, or you can look like I won't say the word because I don't have my swear jar. Okay. Or and we understand that she's in jail, but we're going to come back. So why don't we just agree to what's real? Let's do real right now and all. But I still think that there are issues that are going to arise, Michael Bryant.
And I wonder where. I have a feeling that his access to the money, which now is $48 a month, from that $50K escrow, impacts where he's going to be going. I can envision he was thinking, I'm going to get this $200K, maybe I only get $100K. I'm buying something. And then that's where I will establish residency.
And I'm going to ask it for a fund for the child, and I'm going to take it. And he may still ask for it. He may still ask for a down payment from the 50 to buy something, right?
He could ask. But if this was truly a negotiated deal, as we've gone through, it would be pretty bad faith for him to circle back and immediately ask for a chunk of that money. And I don't think that's going to be well received by the court.
So where's he living? Where's he going to live with the baby?
Yeah, mommy and daddy. He's still home with mommy and daddy. So, and I've heard, I'm not 100% sure on this, only dad came to court. And I don't know what the situation is with his mom and dad, but dad came to court. He's been living certainly where his dad lives. That's all I know. That ain't going to change. If just an alien was thinking, I'm about ready to move, moving uptown, doesn't look like that's going to happen under this agreement.
Well, you know what? It's better for him in the long run because he'll look better in the court's eyes in the long run than being, trying to pull the wool over the court's eyes, take the kid, have the next party here, location, take the child, and then argue that the child belongs where he is. And oh, by the way, I want the $200,000. So he may not realize it, but if he truly has the best interest of the child at heart, it's better for him to look not so much like a gold
digger or some sort of Hopefully he has the child's best interest at heart. I don't know. Was he just trying to get the kid because that was the key to unlock the money? I don't know. Don't know any of this stuff. It's going to come, as this evidence you're hearing on the 2nd.
Mhm.
It's going to be fascinating.
Right.
I'm gonna get in my request soon to record that, because then I'll maybe, if I get into it and we can stream it, we will.
Yes. Yeah.
With a little bit of notice. So
Not 8:21. We were proof of shooting last time because you
8:21.
had it in 8:21. The hearing starts in 9 minutes, and you couldn't
and that was
you just
only. I mean, clearly, it dragged on because there were
Right.
so many litigants in this place. It was packed. Nothing really happened till 10. I didn't know that though. I'm thinking, oh, in fact, I was freaking out because I went to the clerk and the security people. And I said, look, I see this camera out here for Channel 10. What's the reaction to? I requested it and I got nothing. That's the only reason they even responded.
Yeah.
So I guess
Yeah.
if I had asked that question 15 minutes earlier, I would have got a few more minutes to set up. But I didn't even have the right gear to stream, so we'd have to do something a little different. But if I can do that, I think that's the way to go. People should see this unfold in real time.
Yeah, everyone's very interested in this because we're still in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, yes.
Massachusetts, yeah.
Yeah.
And so anyhow, so that's the update of today. After it's been a pretty busy week already, and it's Wednesday, and we still have Thursday, and Marty Tankliff, and Friday we have a special
Halloween special. It's a Halloween special.
Halloween special.
Yeah.
Halloween special. And wear your costumes, dress up.
Dress up
we'll
to
be
watch.
dressed
Yeah,
up.
that'll be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, dressed up. We'll be dressed up. I mean, it'll just be a participatory party that we won't be able to see each other, but maybe you all will tell everybody what you're wearing.
Or take pictures and send them to our email, or
Yeah. Yeah.
Did I just see? I thought I saw. Yes, I did see. I saw. Did I see that? That's what I saw.
Oh wow.
Thank you so much.
Listen, thanks, Coney Schmidt. I love it. Gifted 5 Justice Serve TV memberships. As you know, you have to be a subscriber to get those memberships. People love them, and they already probably are doled out. In the they get randomly assigned almost immediately when they're gifted. But hit that subscribe button, and maybe if you are not a member and you are a subscriber, and there's the generous gifting of memberships, as we have with many of the people that come here, they're so generous. You'll get one of those memberships, and you can help join the hunt, or you could be in the book club, and maybe then you'll love it and you'll pay it forward.
There you go. Oh, I got scared here.
Boo!
She booed me, booed us.
Yeah.
And I'm looking through the comments while we have a few minutes before we wrap it up.
See if there's anyone got any burning questions? Anything left over from last night with Alan Jackson, Kelsey Fitzsimmons? I keep wanting to call her Fitzpatrick, Fitzgerald. Kelsey Fitz is what we should just call her.
Fitzy, yeah, Fitz.
Yeah, Fitz, and all. And Karen Reed, and you've got the Proctor, the Proctor thing that again, the restraining order with regard to his text, not restraining order, but try to seal his text again. I mean, it's all going on in Massachusetts. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. This is interesting observation. Remember, he wanted the house a week ago. He needs a psyche valve. And yeah, again, I think he was pummeled into submission by some solid legal reasoning. You know?
Yeah, I think his lawyer may have done a good job and told them what instead of getting maybe advice from other lawyers who aren't really lawyers, maybe he sat down.
Maybe Chat GPT. Maybe that's what it was. Okay, Lindsay Bay is not shy.
I'll say it. Horse's ass. I was actually.
You were going a grade or two beyond that, I think. I just get a feeling.
I think I was a grade or two beyond that. Yeah. And look, we all want what's best for the child, obviously. I mean, that's what the court is. But I don't want what's best for the child to be put in the parameters of you took the mother away. So now you're looking at what's best for the child because you took the mother away, and she has no right to the child. And that's what the courts will tend to do if this lasts a long time. And that, I think, is a danger here.
Yep. Carrie P143. how he was filing the day after she was shot is so gross. Your child's mother, the person you were engaged to, and you couldn't care less. Monster.
Yeah, that's another one.
He's got some PR issues.
Yeah,
Some PR
yeah, and that maybe that's why his lawyer did this and sat on him a little bit. Karen Cole, UK lawyer. Hi, Karen Cole. I love London, my favorite place. My husband and I honeymooned in London. I ended watching a UK creator who did a great documentary. I felt Spectre, lovely cuts of London. Thank you. Was that Vikram's documentary? Karen, do you know if it was Vikram's documentary? So we'll see. He is Oscar winning. I did an award-winning documentary.
What was the name of it again? Who's the director or the producer?
His name was Vikram. Okay, and that's what he went by, Vikram. Okay, so
Sui Generous, always very helpful. She's off kilter. Well, I hope you get back on kilter. Been promoting this channel where I can, especially shorts. Yeah, I had today was a voiceover domino short. I never got on camera. I just voiced over and we watched domino walk. So sometimes that's best for everybody.
I know, but we have a lot of things coming up. We'll have, obviously, again, as I said, Marty Tanko tomorrow night. We'll have a Halloween special. You don't want to miss it, okay? You don't want to miss it. And then, of course, our weekend, as Michael Bryant calls them, snacks. I like to say they're tea times. So,
feel free to have some tea.
I like to go across the pond with tea time. So.
Sheila Duffy is so correct. If he moves out of his parents' home, who's going to look after the baby when he goes back to work? And that was had I had more time than just him walking up the stairs to ask another question, it would have been, aren't those fireman shifts like on 48, off 48 or something kind of intense like that? It's not like a 9-to-5 job. So you're going to rely on some serious daycare for an infant. Yeah. I don't, who knows how equipped they are for that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But you may also find that when they start getting daycare, the request for him to get more than $12 a week goes up. Because we all know that daycare is very, very, very expensive.
But on the other side of that equation, you can't, as they say, get blood from a turnip. I mean, unless they're going to start siphoning more of that $50K away, which they could do. I mean, they're going to look at the income of the mom too, which I don't know if it is the jail income. I don't know if she has any jail income. But it ain't gonna be much if it's anything.
Thank you, Karen. So it's director Thomas Rook, or producer from the channel Film Retrospective. Thank you for everyone to know. Appreciate that. I don't know about that one. I'll have to go look it up and all. But AJ and I said we both look like babies there. Like we were children.
Yeah, he was learning from the master, and then look what he did with that information.
Yeah, it's great. He was very gracious. Anyhow, go look at our library. Whoa, Wilson. Hi, Will. Hey, happy. Thank you. Great show with AJ. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it and watched it. Welcome. And we have some episodes we've done with Will in our library at Justice Serve TV. So really spend the time rooting around there, because you're going to find that there's a lot of things there. As we said, we're going to reincarnate some of our past, shall we say, I don't know, the duo with Street Cred, some of our past.
So with our, we got to refresh that, add some new heads
that we've interviewed, that people come here to be interviewed because they know they're going to get they're going to get fair treatment. Not only that, but we kind of know what we're talking about. Even every once in a while, when I see comments every once in a while, we should do a comment show again soon. Everyone.
We do need to do it. There's some choice. There's some very good comments out there that are so fun. Yeah.
They're so fun, both for us and some that against us.
Usually of course, the ones against us are far more fun. Folks have been wondering about the grandparents situation. They brought a motion for visitation, and that has not been heard yet. So that may become part of the December 2nd. Have to just keep an eye on the docket for that.
Yep. So anyhow, thank you all.
One more question.
Oh, one more question. Okay.
Is Kelsey entitled to any type of disability pension? That's a very interesting question. Whatever the police department disability insurance requires, I would imagine that if you're found guilty of the underlying crime, which is the assault with a weapon, and as a result of that crime you were shot, that's the theory anyway, right?
Right.
then I would say they're going to deny pension benefits. That's just me.
I agree with you.
Stat, right?
I agree with you. Absolutely. All right, Michael
All right,
Bryant.
Jen. Linda Kenney Baden. We are Just to Serve TV. Hey, get ready for Halloween. We had some fun. Hope to see you then. In the meantime, try to do the right thing.